Welcome to Birds of Prey Sports Talk, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And today, we're going to be covering the amazing game, for us Ravens fans at least, the amazing game, which was Detroit Lions versus the Ravens, which we just played this past Sunday. And, this game, the offense looked amazing. We got out to a big lead early, 28 to nothing, and we just continued, to leave our foot on the gas pedal. And we ultimately ended up winning 38-6. And just talk about having our foot on the gas pedal. That's something me and you, have cried for, hoping that the Ravens do, is, don't let up a big lead, keep the foot on the gas pedal. And, there's been so many games throughout these 3 years, it seemed like since 2020, where we've been in the lead and we've looked dominant. And then, after halftime or just after one interception or fumble, we just look like a completely different team. And, it's good to see that there were no turnovers in this game. It was just a perfect game for the
There
Ravens.
was there was one, the fumble.
Fumble, yeah, there was fumble, but we didn't let that, deter us. So
Right, exactly. We did something completely different, and not notice how you didn't remember
yeah,
because it didn't affect us.
yeah,
There wasn't a nexus point to our downfall,
yeah.
So it's just anyway. Go ahead, continue. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you for that. You're right. I didn't remember, so that's a good thing. So, yeah, we just kept our foot on the gas pedal, and honestly, the offense is really seeming like it's really starting to figure things out. Things are starting to click. We saw a glimpse of it in the Titans game, but you know, when I read the stats to you guys, you're going to see. So, right now, and I'll start with Lamar. Very, very, very efficient game by Lamar. He went 21 of 27, 357 yards passing. When's the last time we had a 300-yard Lamar passing game? Like that's had to been against the Dolphins or the Patriots last year, maybe. Three passing touchdowns. He also had one rushing touchdown. I would have hoped to see a Jackson 5 yesterday, but it's all good. For rushing, uh, Gus Edwards had 14 carries, 64 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. His longest was 20 yards. Justice Hill had 4 carries, 46 yards, 11.5 yards per carry. His longest was 27. He had that oh no. Um he didn't have that fumble. Did he had that fumble, right?
It counted on Lamar, yeah.
Yeah, count him. Okay. Lamar also had 9 rushes, 36 yards, average 4 yards. So receiving, it's funny because the top receiver according to yards is Gus Edwards. He had one reception for 80 yards. Then the second leading receiver is Zay Flowers had 4 receptions for 75 yards. Zay really had a great game. There was a lot of passes that Lamar put right on the money, and the connection looked great between him and Zay. Mark Andrews, he had to show big for National Titans Day, and he did. He had 4 receptions for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just I'm glad that we really fed Mark, especially in the red zone. Because that's money Mark. He's called that for a reason, and he's always catching the ball. He's Butterfinger sometimes, but 95% of the time he's money Mark. uh, Odell had a pretty strong game, five receptions for 49 yards. Rashard Bateman, he was there. you know, 2 receptions for 36 yards. Patrick Ricard had 2 receptions for 31 yards. Nelson Aguilar had 1 reception for 12 yards, but he had that touchdown. Um, Keaton Mitchell had 1 reception for 9 yards. I want to see more Keaton, man. I want to see more of him. And Justice Hill had 1 reception for 2 yards. So a very interesting looking stat line there. It'd be funny to look at if you didn't see the game, but this I feel like this is just a good example of sharing the wealth. Everybody got to touch the ball, at least, twice. The main guys got to touch it at least twice. And, you know, offense was just clicking. It was just one of those perfect, football games for a team where everything was just working. And I wanted to talk about how, and I'm gonna ask you, I want to see a little bit more of Odell, just plays just designed for Odell, just seeking him out, throwing him a deep pass, getting him a touchdown. I want to see that a little bit more because I feel like, the past couple of years, we brought in Dez Bryant. We didn't really use him. And I kind of noticed, when he departed the team, he kind of had a lot of criticisms for the Ravens offense, and I would hate,
Mhm.
for that to happen with OBJ. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel the Ravens get him more involved? How would you like to see the Ravens get OBJ more involved?
Yeah, I'd like to see him get more involved down the stretch. I want to say it was an interesting talking point on ESPN where they were talking about how I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Marcus Spears or Orlovsky. They were saying that you didn't sign Odell to have him in September, or to use him in September or October. You have him to use him in December and January, in those big moments. And while it would be nice to have like a really big game from Odell, you know, I would like to see him get fed a little bit more. I feel like he still has a juice in him, in a way, that he showed some competitive fire in that Lions game. Yet I haven't seen all year from him. Well, I mean, I have seen it all year from him, but it's just like he doesn't get enough opportunities. It feels like, and then who knows what would have happened? It felt like the Bengals kind of, had a hit on him for some reason, and kind of pushed back his deadline to continue to being healthy. I have a strong feeling he got hurt in that game because of them. And then he wasn't very involved in the Steelers game. But yeah, I would like to see him getting, like I said, I would like to see him get involved more. There were like a few plays designed for him. I didn't. Well, they maybe weren't designed for him, but he made what do you have 5 receptions? So he had a pretty decent game. Like he almost averaged 10 yards a catch. So that's almost a first down every catch. So yeah, I definitely would like to see him more involved. And I know I probably said that 5 times already, but I really, really would. I mean, we also are paying him a lot of money, so it'd be nice to see him a little bit more involved. But I really hope that down the stretch, once he gets to a full health, 100%, that we can see a little bit more of him, and it should be exciting. With Zay Flowers figuring things out, hopefully Bateman figured things out, and then Odell usage going up, and you obviously have Mark, who's just going to be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully we can, get a little bit, get the offense a little bit more in sync.
Mhm.
Titans and the Lions have been a good, teaser of what our highest potential can be. So, hopefully we can still, get that in check,
Mhm.
as before the buy and during the buy, especially.
Right.
Um, also I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion on Zay this game? How do you feel like he's been progressing so far this season, as our, rookie receiver?
Yeah, well, I see. So he has 4 receptions for 75 yards. He almost averaged 20 a carry, so that's almost 2 first downs. But excuse me. I really did like Zay. I feel like they got him involved very early. Especially on the very first drive. But towards the middle parts of the game, Lamar was spreading the wealth throughout the whole game, and then you could definitely tell there was a switch up in the play calling in the second half. I believe we only have the two what's it called, the one touchdown. Is it only the one touchdown in the second half? And then the one field goal. So there's definitely more a conservative play call, which is fine, because when you're up by 4 scores, that's when you should start playing conservative football, not when you're only up by 4 points. So yeah, that was the smart time to play it. So, if this game was like a shootout, I think our Zay stats would have been even better. That 4 receptions could have been turned into 8 receptions for 150 yards for all I know. So, but if this game was closer, I definitely feel like Zay stats would have been better. And I really liked his usage early on. Especially, I mean, me and you were both watching that video early today, from the QB school. He didn't have that play designed for him, but that little dig route he did over the middle of the field, we felt like he could have scored in that play. But yeah, like he really did have a very good first half. The second half you didn't see him as much. Some people were a little concerned for a minute, maybe he was hurt, but I just don't think that they wanted to risk anything with him. He's obviously our prize ticket, in the last year's draft. So we want to keep him healthy when we can. Marquise had early injury issues with the Ravens, and OBJ is in injury history, and Bateman has an injury history with us. So hopefully we can keep him healthy, and if we can keep using him like this instead of just with the screens and whatever, he's going to be dangerous in this league and dangerous for this team.
Yeah, that most definitely. The sky is the limit, for this team. The sky is just the limit, and I'm excited to see. I feel like even next week against the Cardinals, I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead here, but I feel like even next week against the Cardinals, we have another opportunity, to see what these guys can do. Obviously, I'm gonna just be for real. It's obviously a game we should win. you
Right.
know,
And then yeah, and we'll get into that at the end of the video.
yeah, and so yeah, I think I'll pass it on to you, with the defense, and we can talk about the, stats and all that.
Yep. So the defense did they feasted today. And like the Jared Goff was a wild, animal out there. And we were the what is it, the top dog in the animal kingdom. I felt like, they really they were in the backfield. It felt like on every play, they weren't allowing a lot of big plays. The Lions got the touchdown. You would have thought we were the Lions, like the top of the food chain. But anyway, like I was saying, they allowed that garbage time touchdown, yeah, they were really making Jared Goff back there, uncomfortable. I mean, I believe we have 5 sacks in the game, and obviously we had to pick Geno Stone. Congratulations, he's now leading the league in picks with 4. And Adafiowe made his return, and he looked fast, he looked physical. That's the best I've seen Owe in years, and I didn't think Owe did that good last year, but I think in the very small, portions he's had this season, he's looked more explosive, and I'm really excited to see more from him. And the Matabike continues to be a beast. Roquan and Patrick Queen are just the best linebacking duo in the league. Quiet day for Marlowe, which I guess is a good thing. Maybe he wasn't targeted as much. Maybe he was locking up his guy. Obviously, what is it? Jameson Williams. What is his name? Jameson Williams. Yeah, he didn't. I don't even think he had a catch in the game. He had a ball go off right his face mask. Yeah, and we were just physical all around. I don't know if you saw the play where I want to say it was Rocky Sin flipped Amara St. Brown. Like, it's just a total embarrassment for the Lions fans and the Lions team. So I'm glad we put a beating into them. A lot of these Lions, fan pages on Twitter were definitely talking a lot of smack beforehand. So to give him some humble pie, just felt kind of nice, especially that one in particular. He would not live up to his word. That he would not admit he was wrong, I guess. So yeah, he was just digging himself into a deeper hole with idiocy. So but anyways, to go on to the defensive stats, our leading tackler on the day is Arthur Millette. Actually, he has 8 total tackles, 7 of them were solo. He has a sack, a tackle for loss, and a QB hit. Roquan Smith is second. He has 8 tackles as well. 5 of them were solo. He has 1 pass deflection. Kyle Hamilton has 7 tackles. 6 of them were solo. One tackle for loss. Patrick Queen, 5 total tackles. 5 of them were solo. Kyle Van Noy has 5 total tackles. 2 of them were solo. He has 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses, and 2 QB hits. So Kyle Van Noy has really been a sneaky pickup for us. He really has been. He's been very productive so far. And if we're gonna get Ajabo and Away back, then to have Clowney and I'll get into that at the end. I don't want to. I just want to get into the stats here. But Matabike has 3 total tackles. 3 of them are solo, and he has a sack and 2 QB hits. Marlowe, Stevens, and Stone also have 3 total tackles, and 3 of them were all solo. Away, obviously, has the sack. He has a QB hit, and I believe he forced a fumble. Geno Stone has the pass deflection as well as an interception. Brandon Stevens actually had 2 pass deflections, and he almost had an interception. If he would have got that, he would have took it to the house. I mean, you were watching the game together. I said that, and he really would have. I'm sorry. Jones has 3 total tackles. 2 of them are solo. He has a quarterback hit. Jadeveon Clowney, Ronald Darby, Rockison, Duvernay even, Harrison, Jalen Armour Davis, Trenton Simpson, Tavius Robinson all have 1 tackles. I guess Rockison has a pass deflection, and that's really all there is for the tackles today. Really, I'm really proud of how the defense is played, and I'm really starting to believe that Mike McDonald will not be our defensive coordinator next year, just for the fact that he might get some interviews for a head coaching job. Now, he might not be ready for that. Who knows? But he really knows how to use these guys, man. Like, he really does. And it's so nice to see because, I feel like I say this every video, but I just feel like Wink didn't use, like, and I'm not saying Wink was a bad defensive coordinator. I just felt like he was too stubborn in what he wanted to do. And he really just felt like, there was more that could have been done with certain players, and the development of Queen and the development of Matabike have really been helped by Mike McDonald, and Away. I mean, and Away as well, and I really hope he doesn't leave. Do you think he's leaving after this year to find a new opportunity somewhere?
I have a feeling that he won't leave. I feel like he'll stay, and I know the opportunity is very big, and 9 times out of 10, coaches will take it, but I just have a feeling that, Mac will stay, and
Mhm,
and continue to build on what he's been building with the Ravens defense so far. You know,
mhm.
and just I don't know, maybe, maybe he's not ready. Maybe he'll, continue to build what he has, and then a couple years from now he'll leave. But I feel like after this season, I feel like he still will be a part of the Baltimore Ravens.
Right. Well, if you believe that, I'm gonna go with that too. I really want him to stay, with this team. I wouldn't even mind him being our head coach one day if whenever Harbaugh retires. But I guess that's really a discussion for another video. But I wanted to bring something up. Um, oh yeah. Like I was saying, Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney have been two really really crucial pickups for us. They've been very very much a benefit for us. The older guys, veterans, um, guys I didn't really expect a lot out of. When we signed Clowney in the offseason, everybody was really hype about that, and I was too. I'll admit I was hype about it, but I didn't know what the production we were going to get out of him. Same thing with Kyle Van Noy. We signed Kyle Van Noy a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Was that during the Browns game? Not during the Browns game, but before the Browns game.
Yeah, before the Browns game, yeah, before the Browns
Yeah,
game.
so and him as well. He's been doing very, very good for this team. And if we can get away and a Jabo back soon, which we already got away back, so now we're just working on a Jabo. It's going to be important because I feel like the past few seasons we've had veteran guys step in for like young players being hurt. And I feel like this season, like I said, if away and Jao comes back, it'll leave Jadeveon Clowney and Kyle Van Noy fresh, have their legs fresh. Obviously with veteran players, you want them to be as fresh as possible. So how do you feel about that? Or like, do you think that how much do you think away and Ajabo gonna like returning is gonna help Jadeveon Clowney and Kyle Van Noy down the line when the season gets colder, gets more grittier, more tough.
I feel like, just by this game alone, you'll see the impact of, Owe and hopefully Ojabo coming back. I feel like you see the impact. I feel like we got a lot of pressure on Jared Goff, who in his face 24/7 the whole game. And I
Mhm.
can only imagine when that whole D line is healthy, as the season goes on and it's
Yep.
colder, how that's gonna be for opposing quarterbacks.
Mhm.
And that would definitely help out our secondary, which is it's been hard for them to stay healthy this season. That
Yep.
would definitely help us out a lot. And we already know Roquan and PQ they're gonna do their thing. So, you know,
Mhm.
that's definitely gonna help. Oway, coming back, hopefully he can continue the momentum from this game, against the Cardinals, which I think we will,
Right.
when Ojabo comes back and, it's just 100% himself, it's gonna be a monster, man. And,
Yep.
obviously, there's a possibility to get guys like Danielle Hunter, but, we'll get into that in another
Yeah,
video.
we're making a whole trade video, so we're gonna really go into each player possibility and what we'd have to give up for them. So we'll get into that afterwards.
But, like, the sky is the limit. I said that earlier in this video, and I mean it. The sky is the limit for this team. We just got to keep, improving, each week and not shoot ourselves in the foot. Not get in our own way of winning.
An interesting thing about that, when you say the sky's the limit, I saw something the other day. It was like, why does these people were going back and forth. They were like, why is the sky the limit? And like it's like, well, it's because you can do this, that, and the third. And they were like, well, how is the sky the limit when there's footsteps on the moon? So like I'm like maybe the stars is the limit, the whole multiverse. I don't know. So but I mean I just wanted to bring that up. We're motivational here. We're birds of motivational talk. No, but yeah, I guess going back to the Lions game, this is one of the best Lamar passing performances I've seen. Obviously we know the Colts game, the Dolphins game from last year, and then the year in 2019. Trying to think what else. Patriots game was really good last year. Um, I'm trying to remember other ones, but
Rams
huh?
game.
Rams game. How could I forget? Let me think. The Bengals game 2019 as well. There's plenty of games, but I think this one, he just he looks really, really good. Like, give me your thoughts on Lamar and how he's really played just in this game and just overall this season. And I'll give you my thoughts afterwards.
Lamar's played he's played really, really good, and honestly, he should be an MVP candidate. He should be, in there, and I think, this game today was a statement game. I remember saying segments. I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before, Stephen A. Smith and I'm talking about, are the Ravens not getting their money's worth out of Lamar. And, games like this show that, they damn right are. They damn
Right.
right are getting their money's worth. And Lamar is talented. And look, the offensive line did what they're supposed to do. Give
Yep.
their quarterback
Kudos to them.
Give them more time to make a play, and he gets the ball to them, man. He gets
Yep.
the ball to them. And even if you look at any game this season, the Steelers game, Lamar was getting the ball to them, and you even made me realize, Lamar was on the money in that game. They just dropped it, but
Hmm.
the receivers had Lamar's back, the O-line had Lamar's back in this game. Everything was just a perfect marriage, and Lamar had an amazing game.
Yep.
And that's Lamar right there. That's Lamar.
And I think the only really iffy games he's had, I don't he didn't play well in the Colts game.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say he didn't play well versus the Texans. I'll give him a pass just because it was the first game of the year and it's his first action, in a while, and a new offense at that. But he really looked better in the Bengals game. But yeah, in the Colts game is really his only bad game, in my opinion. Like that's like the only game that I would consider him to have played bad. But every other game, like I thought he played, he played okay in the Texans game. He played really good in the Bengals game. What other game did we play? After the Colts, it was the Browns. He played good in the Browns game. He played good in the Steelers game. He played good in the Titans game. He played good in this week's. So he's really had more like better performances than maybe the stats he shows. And I feel like you know this type of game where he has a 3 passing touchdown could be more of a norm if he continues to get more comfortable and if everybody can stay healthy. And shout out to the offensive line. They did a fantastic job versus a hungry and fast and physical defensive front in the Lions,
Yeah.
and so just kudos to them. Stanley, Simpson, Linderbaum, Zeitler, and Moses, all of them. And Ricard as well. Even though he's not a lineman, we pretty much treat him like he is. So everybody did their job. Everything was working. Even when things broke down, they still made a bit. I mean, the Gus Edwards play was a broken play that Lamar had to improvise, and then it still wound up being an 80-yard catch.
Yep.
So everything was working, and not every game will be like this. So let's not think like, oh my God, now every week Lamar has to have 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. That'd be awesome, but there's going to be some bumps and bruises down the road. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be this, that, and the third. So don't expect every single game to be like this, but if this is a taste of what greatness can be for this team, then I'm really excited for what the limit is, and it's not the sky anymore. It's something greater than that. It's the moon, the sun, the stars, whatever you want to say. The limit is. I hope there is no limit. So I'm really excited to just continue to see this team grow over the years. Over the year, not over the years. I meant only over the year. But I guess to transition into something else, into the pregame for the Cardinals, which is our first 4 o'clock game in the year. Unless you had anything else to bring up versus the Lions, did you have anything else to bring up?
No, let's get into the pregame.
Yep. So just a small little pregame here. We're still trying to figure out how to do this, but obviously the Cardinals coming in, they're 1-6. They average 18 points per game. They've scored 121 points this year, 13 total touchdowns. Their opponents score 26 points per game. They've given up 182 points, along with 20 touchdowns. Let me see here. Their third down percentage is 39.56. Their fourth down percentage is 28%. Let's see. I'm trying to see here. Their pass yards per pass attempt is 5.9. That's crazy. It's like how looking at these bad teams, the differences between them and their opponents. It's like their opponents, their pass per attempt is 8.1 yards. So they're just like slinging a rock versus them.
Yeah.
They have they don't have a bad running game. They have 973 total yards running. That's 139 yards per game, with 6 rushing touchdowns. I'm trying to figure out if there's any other stats to bring up besides that they're 1-6. So a team that, obviously isn't that good. A team that, like I said, is coming in struggling, doesn't have their quarterback, and just randomly falling off the face of the earth. Give me a small pregame for yourself. After all that I just mentioned. With the stats and all that. Give me that and your prediction of the game.
As you look at the stats, I was looking at them also, and And I'm gonna be honest, we should win this game pretty handily. You know,
Yeah.
I do not want this to be a close game because it really shouldn't. You know, the Ravens have
Right.
had a history of playing up to or down to their opponents.
Hmm.
We need to stop that this season because this game right here is a perfect game for us to get our momentum back in the AFC North. And also just as a team, you know, keep the momentum flowing. We should not
Right.
be losing with this team right here. They are like 25th or higher in almost every category, it seems like. And you know, it's unacceptable to lose this game. And if we
Yep.
lose this game, somebody might be on the hot seat. So, you know, I expect a run game to really be working. You know, they have the 25th rushing defense in the league, it seems like. You know, I expect the run game to work, and I expect us to get the ball out to OBJ and Mark, you know, pretty early in this game, like how we did against the Lions. I expect it to be the same type of game against the Lions as with this game. You know,
Hmm.
I expect that. You know,
Right.
maybe 24-10 at least, but
Hmm.
shouldn't lose this game or really be a close game. And that's no disrespect, but you know, we have to realize, you know, when you're supposed to beat a team, you're supposed to beat a team. You know, that's just
Right.
how it is. I'm pretty sure, you know, the coaches expect us to win this game. If they expect us to win every game, this game should be no different. You know,
Right.
I expect Lamar to have a great game. I predict, you know, his stat line will be 277 passing yards, two touchdowns. Maybe we'll have like, you know, 46 yards of rushing. I expect Gus to have around the same amount of carries, 14, 15 carries, 50 yards. You know, I think OBJ is gonna have a pretty good game. I feel like he'll have around five receptions, you know, 60 yards, hopefully a touchdown. You know, I want to see him get his first touchdown with the Ravens. And you know, I expect Money Mark to have a touchdown also. So, you know, this should just be a game that we should win, man. You know, I don't want to see us lose this game
Yep.
because you know, we have pretty good momentum. So what do you think? Well, I'm asking, what do you think?
Actually, I agree. I feel like our defense it should suffocate them. Just to the point where like this is to me this is shutout territory. But will we do it 2 weeks in a row? It seems like the Ravens always play up to their position, up to their competition, and down to other competition. So to me, I hope that this is a blowout win. I hope that it's like a 40 bomb or whatever you want to say. But um, I don't expect it to be the same type of game. I really should be, but I expect us to still win handily. Like I could see something along the lines of like 30-33 to like 9 or something like that, which I guess is this kind of the same thing. I guess it. So I guess I kind of proved myself wrong, but I could definitely see this being a 33 to like 9 type game for us, where Lamar throws for like multiple touchdowns. And There's really not much to say besides that. This is what we should do. Like this is what should happen. Like Joshua Dobbs should not light us up. James Conner, I think that's the running back, should not run all over us. Like Marquise Brown should be clamped up, because that's all he's good for. That's not I'm playing, but uh and their defense, like who was like on their defense that scares you?
I mean, Buda Baker, and that's really it.
Is Buddha even playing? I thought he was hurt.
I think he is. I think he will be playing in this game. Yeah.
Right. So Kyler's not gonna be playing. So it's like this should be a good, dominant win, like 33-9. But what will probably win and be out by is probably like 23 to like 6 or something like that, or something ridiculous, like where we should put more points in the board, like if we're clicking like this, where we're hitting, I feel like we got our red zone woes back, and we got our red zone woes out of the system again. Obviously we scored on the first like 4 drives or whatever. So I'm really expecting a 33-9 game,
Yeah.
but what's possibly going to happen is like 23 to like 12 or something like that. Now, if it's that, I wouldn't feel as good about it, but I'm just gonna say 33-9 just because I feel like we can really lay down the hammer on them, and hopefully Lamar gets his Jackson 5 finally. you know,
Yes.
um, yeah, passing touchdowns, not just passing and rushing, like passing and what's it called? Just passing, not even passing and running. So yeah. Do you have anything else to bring up between the Ravens versus Cardinals?
Beat down. Let's do it. That's all I gotta say. Let's do that.
Hmm.
Beat them.
Right. So, yeah, like so. I think in this past week, the Cardinals had lost to the Seahawks 20-10.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. And I think the Bengals put a beat down on them the week before, if I'm not mistaken.
Or Chase just did whatever he wanted to. He was 7-11, like how he said.
Right. Exactly. So I think it could be a big game for Zay. Like if you had to pick out a big player or a big performance from a player in this game offensively, who would you expect?
Well, like I said previously, I think OBJ, I think this is going to be his breakout game.
Mhm.
I don't expect him to have the game like how Jamari Chase had, but I expect him to have a pretty good game and, really, put his foot in the door as a Baltimore Raven in this game. I think it's going to be him.
Well, I sure hope so. What about defensive for you? Said
Defense,
hope so.
like you said, defensive feast. I feel like Roquan was physical, man. He was like just terrifying out there. I feel like he'll continue the same path, in his Cardinals.
Mhm.
And I
I
think
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Kyle Hamilton's gonna have a pretty good game too. I feel
You like Geno Stone's get another pick, extend that lead to 5.
like two by the end of this game.
So what I predict defense to do kind of the same what they did last week. Another 5 sacks, maybe more. I want to see more turnovers caused. We could have had way more than just one turnover in the game on Sunday versus the Lions. We could have had a few fumbles. So cause turnovers, make easy fields for the Ravens offense. You win the game. And I think for my big player on offense is going to be probably Zay. I expect him to have a really big day. I expect him to have his it's going to be his first 100-yard performance with us. Does he have one yet?
No, he doesn't have one yet. No, he doesn't
Right.
have
So
one.
I expect this to be Zay's his first 100-yard reception game. And I expect him to get a touchdown this game. I expect him to get a touchdown this game. And then defensively, I think I think Marlowe has a big day. Because who do you think realistically would be on Marquise Brown?
Mm,
Maybe Stevens.
Stevens, maybe Armor Davis, maybe.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Stevens. I expect him to have a pick. He's gonna pick off. He's gonna pick off Joshua Dobbs, Brandon Stevens. He's gonna get a second pick of the year. That's my prediction, man. So, and Brandon Stevens has really came into his own this year. He's really been a solid defensive back for this team. He still is, up and down sometimes where it's like he should have made this play. He should have better ball tracking skills, but he really has become way better. So and there's been a lot of developmental players. They're in their second year under Mike McDonald. So just really excited. Hopefully it's a win. Hopefully we can head to 6-2. And then I think after that, what do we play? The Seahawks,
Yeah.
Seahawks, Browns, and Bengals. So a little bit of a tough stretch after that. So get this win, get to 6-2, handle the Seahawks, and handle the division. So that's all I gotta say in this video. So I guess you'll do the outro. Finish
Yeah.
this out.
Yep. So we have for this video. Great win this week, and let's continue it next week. But we're your hosts, TJ and Jared. Make sure to stay tuned. We do this weekly Ravens and Orioles stuff, and also make sure to check out our social medias. They should be around our faces, our heads. We have another channel, Casual Cinema. Check that out. And we're Birds of Prey, and we're out.
We're out.